Well, the weekend has come to an end, but as always, we do not end things here. So today is going to be a very interesting one. So we have two reviews for both of you, and of course, they're both Yoshi Wrestling stuff. The first one is from Sendai Girls in Shinkiba back on December 22nd, featuring many matches. Of course, there's one I think many people would like to see is Bobo Momo Banana taking on Dash Shizako and Mika Iwata, the homegrown girls within Sendai Girls. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then, of course, we have Stardom with their latest pay per view, Dream Queendom, which is the last pay per view of 2024. So we do have, of course, the Goddesses of Stardom tag team titles defended. So is the white belt and the red belt and various other matches. So the question we ask, will we see title changers or what? So that is something we will see along the way. And of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got new Nagisayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been set aside. I believe it's time to rock and roll. So let's begin with Sendai Girls. Okay, Sendai Girls in Shinkiba. This took place back on December 22nd. Our first match, we have, of course, Yuta Suzuki versus Yuna. Nothing too special or significant about that, but however, the only factors is that Yuna is a homegrown Sendai Girls within the roster, Yuta from another promotion. However, you can tell that Yuna is still a junior, basically. She hasn't reached her 3 year experience yet, so that kind of plays out in its way. However, Yuta, who has a bit of a martial arts status, plays out pretty well because she was able to defeat Yuna when she applies the armbar just like that. So we will see Yuna progress a lot better in the upcoming years. But for now, that's how this match ended with Suzuki winning the match with an armbar. Our next match, we have a bit of a three-way match. We have Zones versus Miyuki Takase versus Lady Destroyer Hiroyu Matsumoto. However, they were unexpectedly visited by none other than Sakura Hiroda. Now, of course, when it comes to Sakura Hiroda, she does her little comedy routine every single time. So the obvious question is, would she try to do something like that again? Well, that's a good question until the match started. So it was still unpredictable how this match was going to progress. But however, of course, Hiroda was going to get involved in this match because she applies the pointed up the butthole thing. She did that on everyone. But what's funny is Matsumoto had what's her name, Yuki, in a position for a power bomb, but somehow Hiroda did the little butthole thingy, and then somehow it went into a counter sunset flip type of thing. I don't know. I don't know if Hiroda was thinking that Yuki Takase was going to win this match, but nope, it ended with Matsumoto winning this match herself. And of course, the blame goes to Hiroda. Like, what the hell is your problem? Why are you getting involved in our matches? But if I was Hiroda, I would skedaddle out before things get out of control. Now, our next match, we have Chi Chi and Veni teaming up. They take on Team 100 Kilogram. That's going to be Team 200 Kilogram, yeah. You and Chihiro Hashimoto, better known as Big Hash. You can guess that this match was going to be a difficult one because when it comes to you and Big Hash, they're impossible to beat unless you know how to beat them because they are one of the strongest competitors. But I felt bad for Chi Chi because she ended up being power bomb. No, was ended up being the one taking the fall when Big Hash applied a jumping lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we have Manami versus Ryo Mizunami. Now, what's interesting about this, these two ladies are tag team partners. They were formerly Sendai Girl tag team champions until they lost those belts, and now they're opposite ends. However, you can play out who has the better advantage of this match. We know that Ryo Mizunami has a much longer reputation than Manami. I mean, Manami has built her own way for a long time, for all the years she's been with Sendai Girls. But when it comes to Mizunami, that's a different story. But she was able to pick up the win with a driver, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, this is a very interesting main event in a tag team match. We have Mika Iwata and Dash Shizako, both former Sendai Girls World Champions. So, interesting they team up and they face against the double tag team champions, Momo Banana, consistent of Yuka Oka, who's also from Sendai Girls, teaming up with Marvelous's very own Miyu Momono. So that explains it. But however, this plays out in a good way. This is a non-title matchup for anybody to ask, because if Iwata and Shizako were able to pick up the win against them, they could easily cash in an opportunity for a tag team title reign. That is something I'm sure it would have been in their minds. But who knows? But it was in the end Miyu Momono who picked up the win when she pinned Mika Iwata, which was a huge, upset right there. And of course, at the end of the match, they did a post-match promo. I don't know what they said, but it was a lot of fun. So we'll see how things will progress for next year. We do know, of course, Chi Chi, who is the current Sendai Girls Junior World Champion, will be facing Aya Sakura at Stardom's New Year's Dream on January 3rd. So who knows what else Sendai Girls is going to do. But if there are any more events, I'll definitely will be reviewing for all of you. But right now, let's move on to our next and our final review, Stardom. Stardom, Dream Queendom. This is their big pay-per-view of the year for them as well. And this is the last of 2024 for them. So let's begin with the two matches in the pre-show that happened. Our first one, you have Chi Chi teaming up with Matoi Hamabe to take on Cosmic Angels, Aya Sakura, and Yuna Mizumori. However, everybody knows that Aya Sakura is the challenger for the Sendai Girls Junior World Championship that currently is being held by Chi Chi. So that kind of, they've been going back and forth. Don't forget, they will be facing each other on January 3rd for New Year's Dream. So that's something we will pay attention. But however, I think the factor of this match is has to be Matoi, who in fact is the least experienced in the entire roster now. Much lesser now than, of course, Rian, who debuted not too long ago. And that kind of plays out too because it was Yuna Mizumori who picked up the win when she pinned her. So nothing too significant a bit. Now, our next match, we have Sayaka Kurara versus Rana Yagami. Now, remember, Kurara had a great match during New Blood's during Christmas Day, which was, of course, her 1 year anniversary since she debuted, and now she's facing someone who was part of the same class as her. So that kind of tells us a lot of things. So if you guys remembered, it was her, Yagami, and of course, currently in MARIGOLD, Victoria Yuzuki, who are part of the same batch. So that kind of tells us a lot right there. But however, these two facing off each other. Now, I think the real question is you ask yourself who has the far more better experience in this. Well, it seems that this match didn't go either way for either competitor. It ended up in a time limit draw, but Kurara will make it her mission that one way or the other she will beat her this time. So we'll see where that goes. Now, on to our start of the main card. We have the Goddesses of Stardom, which is the tag team belts. As you all know, Wingori, consisting of star members Hanan and Saida, are this year's winners, the Goddesses Tag League, and they face against Hate, consistent of Tekla and Momo Watanabe. Now, of course, when it comes to Hate, they are in fact a team that don't play by the rules. They think that rules are a bunch of BS, lies, and all this other stuff. But there were some good moments we did see where Momo accidentally hit Tekla with the belt, with the baseball bat, but that did give, of course, Hanan time to pin Tekla, and just like that, brand new tag champions. So that's pretty good. I think many of us are giving some great high expectations, not only for Ida, but mostly for Hanan, because a lot of people have credited her that she will be the future ace of Stardom, and I think it looks like we may see that at some point. Our next match, we have a bit of an three-way, 12-man match, well, 12-woman tag match, which is, of course, 4 versus 4 versus 4. First, we have Hate members consisting of Fukigen Death, Azusa Inaba, Rina, and Raka versus God's Eyes, Lady C, Hina, Tomoka Inaba, and Saki Kashima versus EXV's Rian, Hanako, Waka Tsukiyama, and Mina Shirakawa. Now, of course, it becomes chaotic, but do not remove the factors is Hate, as always, with their usual tactics with cheating would have been played out in every way possible. That's always been part of their game, to cheat their way through in this match. However, that did not come to comprehension for their part because it was Mina who picked up the win when she applied the glamorous driver Mina onto Fukigen Death, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have an 8-woman tag match. We have Neo Genesis' very own Miyu Amasaki, Zuzu Suzuki, Azumi, and Mei Seta taking on stars Momokogo, Koguma, Azuki, and Mayu Iwatani. Now, remember, I think it's going to be in the Tokyo Dome. I'm not 100% sure, or is in on January 3rd. Anyway, we do have, of course, Mayu Iwatani defending the IWGP title against Azumi. So that's something we will see. So that kind of plays out in a preliminary match for them. However, the real question is who will progress. In this match, we did see, of course, Azumi applying the Azumi Sushi onto Momokogo, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But the real question is, should Maya be worried? Well, that is we know she is never that worried that much, but we will see when we get to that. Our next match, well, these two have been going at it either in Stardom or in Sendai Girls or wherever. Mika Iwata versus Sayuri Anu. So, as you all know, they known each other long ago. They have been going back and forth for a long time. Not to mention, it was Mika Iwata who defeated her for um, the um, the white belt and that kind of setting right there too. And then, of course, don't forget she did claim the Sendai Girls World Title, and then Mika Iwata reclaimed it. But however, this is one of those matches where, of course, Mika Iwata knows too well that Sayuri Anu is a very bit of a selfish individual, and it's no secret. But Sayuri likes being selfish sometimes, even apologizes to those around her, the people who she loved the most, like Tam, Natsupoi, and the rest of the Cosmic Angels. That's always been who she is. And of course, Tam was willing to accept that. But however, this is one of those matches is like who will get the upper hand in this long feud these two goes. But it was Sayuri Anu who picked up the win with the pottering, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, well, these two were rivals, then best friends, and now worst enemies. Konami versus Shuri. There was a moment where, of course, Shuri could have won this match by knockout, but all of a sudden, effing hate showed up, decided to crash the party, resulting the match to become a disqualification. It became a fight between Hate and God's Eye. However, an unexpected visitor showed up. No one expected her to be there. It's been a while since we've seen her. We're talking about, let me pull up my notes real quick. Kiyuka Kotase, I think, no, Kotatsu, formerly known as Maya Fukada, who was eventually at GLEAD. So it seems that she made her Stardom debut, not in-ring debut, but debut, and it seems that she has a tendency to join God's Eye. And of course, Shuri is always welcome people, and I think she's exactly the kind of person she needs in God's Eye because they're all about fighting. And of course, it's no secret about Shuri's background, and of course, um, Kotatsu, same thing. So I'm sure we'll see how things will progress. I don't know when will be her in-ring debut, but of course, Shuri's rivalry with Konami is not done because Hate continues the Blade Dirty because they don't care about the rules. So we'll see where that goes. Now, our next match is a no disqualification match between Natsuko Tora and Maika. Now, this thing between them dates back a few months ago. Now, remember, it was Natsuko Tora who defeated Maika for the red belt with the help of Kamitani at the time. So, of course, Natsuko Tora is the type of person who will do whatever it takes to destroy people to prove their point. But, however, this is blood, guts, and brutal. I mean, both sides were bleeding. There was a lot of sharp objects in this match you wouldn't imagine. But, and of course, the miss was played out as well by Natsuko Tora. But every time when Natsuko Tora thought she had this match under her control, it was not. But finally, Natsuko Tora applied a barbed wire senton bomb onto Maika, and just like that, it was over. And then, of course, she put out a promo. I don't know what she said, but I'm sure she's making her point that Stardom is now under their control no matter what. Of course, there'll be resistance, but we'll see where that goes from there. Our next match is the Wonder of Stardom Championship, also known as the White Belt. Starlight Kid makes her fifth attempt, this time to face Natsupoi, someone who she has teamed up recently this year, and not to mention have fought in rivalry before in the past. That's always been who they were. They're basically hot speedsters that changed the game in their own perspective way. Of course, it's a very tough thing to swallow. So basically, but Natsupoi always puts out a good fight. But unfortunately, Starlight Kid walked away with the win, finally becoming the white belt champion by applying the Tiger Suplex. But during the post-match promo, she did tell Natsupoi that she is her rival, and no matter what, she will never lose to her. And of course, Natsupoi appreciates that. But Natsuko, of course, mentioned that she acknowledged the loss of the white belt. Now it's time to get back on her 2 feet. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if her next conquest for Natsuko will be the red belt. I mean, that's something we saw before with Kamitani. But now, let's jump into that match. World of Stardom Championship, better known as the red belt. Now, it's no secret about Tam Nakano and Saya Kamitani's relationship. As you all know, Kamitani was trained under Tam Nakano's tutelage until she made the choice to join Queen's Quest. They've been rivals. Now, it's no secret either that back in, of course, what was it, 2, 3 years ago today or so, Kamitani defeated Tam Nakano for the white belt. And the real question we ask ourselves, can we see it again? However, this the concept of it, of course, for Kamitani, let's not forget, Kamitani grew a disdain, hate towards Tam Nakano for what happened to her last year in 2023 for the 5-star Grand Prix. If you all remember, Kamitani got injured when she flew off in a part of a stage setup and injured her elbow, and she blames Tam Nakano for it. And now that becomes it clear, and she is determined to take off the belt. However, during the entirety of the match, you can tell there's been a lot of interference, not to mention Kamitani tried to play dirty as much as possible to pick up a win, but her hatred towards Tam was far more greater, and unfortunately, Tam Nakano lost the belt to Kamitani by using the Star Crusher, and just like that. And she made it clear to Tam that this is not the end of them, that this is only just the start. So she's determined to destroy Tam Nakano one way or the other, but Tam did swore she'll get her revenge. But at this moment, Tam has to focus on another matter, and that is, of course, against her former teammate and former member of Team Cosmic Angels, Unagi. But as for Kamitani, there are those who question, can she do exactly what she did when she was a white belt champion? That's something we don't know, but I'm sure many of us will see how that will be. But for now, we're in uncharted waters. Practically, that's the end of 2024. Let's see how 2025 in Stardom will be. So, we'll end things here and move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's start with upcoming events. Um, we have the GCW stuff coming up. Now, don't forget, uh, January 31st, we have the Till Infinity at the Mecca in Ridgeway Park. They announced us a very interesting battle royale called the Do or Die Rumble. So I'm not sure what the stipulation is to win that match, but I'm sure maybe a shot of the GCW World Title. That's something to be determined. And then, of course, we have the January 10th in 2025 in Rochester, New York, also known as Brody Lee Country, for the Sorry Pal event. Effie will take on Atticus Cogar, so that's going to be interesting. And then finally, House of Glory for the Final Warning event on the 25th of January in 2025. Zilla Fatu will be in action to take on Rhino, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, interesting news has come around coming from Fightful Select. First, during AEW World's End, it was announced there were some very unexpected, some interesting guests that were in the backstage area. We had, of course, Tom Pentuck, I think, also known as Baron Corbin, was in backstage. So is AJ Francis and Tyler Breeze as well. So you probably can guess how come they're not on television. I wouldn't be surprised if all three of these men make their presence known in AEW. So that's something we probably could consider, but only time will tell. Fightful Select also reports that Kevin Knight's contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling is coming to an end. Now, it's still unclear whether he will sign a new contract or not, because as you all know, that on in Tokyo Dome at the Wrestle Kingdom event, he and Kushida will defend their IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles in a four-way match for a tables and ladders and chairs match. So that is still unclear. If this is my theory, if he loses this match, the possibility he may not renew the contract. That is something that goes on. But if they do retain it, well, if he loses and decides to stay, that's up to him. But I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes on in that. Now, also, MARIGOLD has revealed that two wrestlers in the roster are currently out on injury. The first one is Kizuna Tanaka. Unfortunately, she'll be out for 2 months. She had a back injury, so she is required to take rest. It explains it because she wasn't even participating on the 26th event in Corrigan Hall. So I hope she does get a lot of rest and recovers well. And then, unfortunately, on that very same day, on the 26th of December, um, Komomo Minami damaged her MCL and Minicris or whatever it's called, and her timetable is still unclear. I'm sure Mariko will give an update on her condition, so we'll see how things will go with her. And I think that's pretty much it in our news updates and everything else. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do, so I'm going to wing it. But I do know that Oz Academy has an event taking place. But this one also features where uh, FWC from Stardom, Koguma, and Azuki make their debut, the challenge for the Oz Academy tag team belts. So the real question we ask ourselves, will they be able to pull it off and take these tag belts, or will the homegrown girls or whoever the roster to take back remain tag belts? I'm not sure. That is something we will see that if I get a chance to see it. But for now, I'm just gonna wing the next episode. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.